Okay, we're at 10 seconds, so we are gonna go live with our crafting stream for the night. Probably gonna be a shorter one. I'm kind of worn out. Had to take our 19-year-old kitty to the emergency vet today. Apparently she has an abscessed tooth. Hopefully she's gonna make a full and complete recovery, but did wear me out a bit taking care of that, so. Okay. So I did work on this a bit over the week. I didn't get nearly as far as I'd like, but we do now have a bowl of curry and part of our kitten. I think, depending on how things go tonight, I might be able to finish the square. We'll just have to see. But I'm down to only having to swap colors twice, which definitely makes it easier. Also, we can see I've got some tangling going on, so that's fun and will need to be dealt with. Okay. But for right now, I gotta get my pattern block up on screen. And give me just a few. I'm having to resize things so that I can see the chat still. There we go. Okay. So, I believe that I'm on the last row before the kitten's head shrinks a bit and starts turning into ears. So. But yeah, I did go out to a friend's house earlier today before I had to rush to the emergency vet. Got them situated with their new curtains hung in their new apartment. I say new, they've been there for a couple months, but still. And then I'd meant to get some grocery shopping done, didn't get to because emergency vet. So I went out and did that just a little bit ago. I have not been home from that for long, which is also why the stream's starting a bit later than it normally does. Hopefully we will have no tiny possum interruptions tonight, but we'll see. Hopefully we won't have any, oh god, the kitty is crashing tonight, either. Really don't want one of those. Okay. So, we should be going in by 1 this time, which means under, over, and go this way. Pull. That goes under again. There we go. Pull that one through. Now, we just crochet over the white now. Color swapping can be kind of a pain. It's just something that has to be done with certain projects like this one, where we are where we're working with multiple colors and we're having to switch between them and carry one color through so that it can then be used on the next section. But it's doable, and that's one of the things that I like showing to those of you who are watching the stream, because a lot of people get scared by color work. They're like, it's too fancy, it's too fussy, I can't do it. Well, I'm showing you right here. You can. if I can do color work, you definitely can, because I'm an idiot. No real getting around that. The biggest problem with color work is keeping all of these various colors separate, or to keep them from tangling, which I'm not good at, as you can see. But it's still manageable. Completely so. I will have a bit of color work again when we reach the top of the scythe, but thankfully that's not for a bit, so we're actually coming up on what is going to be the easiest part of this pattern, because once I've reached the top of the ears, sorry, I keep forgetting that you guys can't see if I bring my yarn up too high, but once I've reached the tops of the ears, things are going to get so much easier, because we're going to have a section that is just white, nothing but white, for like multiple stitches, except for this little bit of brown on this end where the scythe is. All right, turn. Okay, this is getting to be a bit of a problem. So, setting this aside, and we are going to untangle things a bit. Thankfully, with cases like this, where I have one color that I don't have much of left, it makes that part so much easier to untangle. Because all I have to do is figure out where that one is wrapped and pop it in, out, and through. There is the mild annoyance that is the fact that this is wool. It's supposed to be superwash, and superwash is not supposed to be able to felt and tangle itself. But as we can see, that's not necessarily the case. It is sometimes determined to tangle even if it should not be able to. But it's okay. We're gonna get through this and be fine. Okay. There we go. That one's untangled. The white and the brown are not that badly tangled together, so now we can continue from where we left off. Brown. Here's the trick with color work. When you're swapping colors, you pick up 2 loops, and then you take whatever color you're going to be working with and pull it through those 2 loops, pull that yarn tight, and then continue with the color that you're now working with. Because that means that you don't have the colors swapping. One doesn't show through the other that way. And there's a trick similar to that when you get to the part where you're carrying one yarn through under the other. And I'll try to show that when we get to that point. Okay. Almost there. Okay, so this stitch is going to be white again. The next stitch we also want to be white. So we pick up 2 loops. The stitch after is where we're getting the yellow. Now, we're going to take our yellow and we're going to swing it across. So when we pull that loop of yellow through, the white is going to be on the inside. Pull that white tight. Now, any stitch we do from here out, we make certain that the white is between the yellow on either side. Because that's how we keep that those stitches looking the right way. So we're at a point where we're just going across the whole way to the other side of the kitty head, and I'm keeping that white in between the sides of the yellow. And that's why we're not seeing white through the yellow. There's a few spots where you see a little bit of it, but it's not very prominent or very easy to see. And that's the key, is we want to make it so that it's not going to be easy for others to see. This is going to be part of a much larger blanket. People aren't really going to be looking too closely at it, which definitely works in our favor in this case. Alright, from this point we're going just white all the way across to the end, turning and swinging back the way we came. And the next row is when I'm going to have to start not only carrying the white but also carrying the yellow, because this is where the ears are going to start to be visible. This kitty has a really fat head. I think I messed up on things, but oh well. The person it's for will love it anyway, which is good, because, yeah. Hold on, gotta respond to something. Sorry. I'm talking to one of my roommates about our cat that had to go to the vet, so I'm having to field that. Okay. But yeah, we're going to start getting to the ears part of the kitten in this particular piece. See, now we're doing the white all the way back until we reach the kitten ears. Okay. But if you see what I mean about when I say I'm 3D printing with yarn, I'm printing with yarn is what I'm doing here. I'm creating a picture using yarn. And it's going to be a very cute picture once it's all said and done. Okay. So, alright. This is the last of the white. Now, again, white goes on the inside, yellow gets carried across and over, picked up, pulled through the two whites, two loops of white, then we tug that white to tighten those loops before we do our next stitch into the yellow. And now I have to start counting stitches again. Looks like 3 stitches in yellow, 2 white, 3 in yellow. Okay, so 1, 2, and now we're going to we want it to go this way. This time we're going to pick up the white as opposed to the yellow. Nope, 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 nope. We want the yellow over here and out of the way, so that when we pick up this white, we can then 1 and 2, and now we swap again. Nope, nope, nope. Back to the yellow, 3 stitches, and then we'll be back to the white. Thank you, Sierra Runs. Don't mind me, I am just crocheting away. This is actually a crochet chart that I came up with on my own. 1, 2. We drop that white, or drop that yellow because we're now done with it for this portion. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Well, kitten ear's going to be a little lopsided. Oh well. That's fine. What's a kitten without a little bit of character? In this case, the character looks like the kitten got stung by a bee on its head, and that's why its head's so swollen. But c'est la vie. The chart looks much more streamlined. I'm thinking that somewhere along the way I lost count and got things a bit crooked, but it's okay. So we have 2 more rows with the yellow, after which we will then be done with that, and I can clip that thread until, well, no, we're done with that, period. There's no more yellow once we finish the kitten. After that, it's just going to be the brown and the gray from the scythe until we're done. And the white, of course. I'd considered having a different color, not white walls, as the background, but it just seemed like a bit more hassle than I wanted to put through. Okay, we're going to untangle again. Because our brown has decided that it just wants to wrap itself up around the white. And I really, when I'm working with acrylics, I don't worry so much about the tangling yarns. But this, like I said, it's superwash wool. It shouldn't be able to tangle and felt, and yet it keeps trying to. And that's why I worry and do things like, untangle it periodically while we're working. You can see how when I pull that yellow through away from the brown, sometimes the brown would stick to it and try to tug it with it when they moved, and that was it attempting to felt, even though it's superwash. Because what superwash wool is they coat the wool with some chemicals that basically flatten out these ridges that the wool naturally has. And those ridges are what grab onto each other and felt. And of course, if you want something that's going to be machine washable, it can't do that. And if you wanted to, the reason why it doesn't felt up like that on the sheep is because of the lanolin, I believe. But you don't want your wool to still have a lot of lanolin on it, because lanolin's why sheep smell like sheep. So, very useful oil used in a lot of modern products even. Um, a lot of hand lotions will advertise that they're made with lanolin. And it doesn't hurt the sheep when you remove the lanolin because you just take it as part of shearing the sheep. And if you don't shear the sheep, your sheep will actually overheat and get very, very sick. Um, so it's a good thing that we shear the sheep. And then we just take that wool and we clean the lanolin off of it. And that's how you end up with lanolin for product usage and also um, clean wool for nope, it's gonna be one and then nope, I screwed up on that one. What I screwed up, just so you know, is right here you can see there's 2 strands of yarn that I need to go under, and I only went under 1. So I was going to end up with a small, like, pock-marked ridge. One, two. I'm very confused by this. Okay. Ow. I think I know what I did. Okay. Alright, we are swapping again. And remember, we switch so that the yellow goes over the white but under everything. Pull that tight. And then this time we want wait. I see what I did, but to undo it I would have to go back and like undo 2 whole rows, and I just don't want to do that right now. So we're just gonna pretend I didn't make that mistake. Oh. And continue on, and again, thankfully the person this is for is very, very what we refer to as knitworthy, and she's going to love it whether it has mistakes or not. So why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. It's a thing I did. It's annoying, but I did it. And now I'm undoing it, or redoing it, I guess. And I think I'm going to go slightly off chart to basically fix what I've mucked up. So now I have to do 2 stitches of yellow there. Okay, that's fine. So that one, we pick up the white again, tighten the yellow, and off we go to the edge and back. We are making good progress on this tonight, which is nice. Okay. At some point I have to sit down and stitch in all of my thread ends, and then I also need to make certain that it's shaping up as a square as opposed to something else. A lopsided rectangle. But not right now. I'm doing good to just keep working on it now. Excuse you, you were supposed to go through both of those. Okay. Oh, I did see something fun on my way home from my late night grocery trip. I noticed something crossing the road, and of course we have lots of cats that are outside and that cross the road. We have possums, we have raccoons, squirrels, of course, though I tend not to see them crossing the road after dark. Rats every now and then, pretty big ones too. just your standard urban wildlife. But, okay, hold on, I'm laying this out just to double check the... Yeah, everything is shaping up to be nice and straight across. Even. Good. Okay. But this, I went, that doesn't move like a cat or a raccoon or a possum or even a skunk. It moved differently. Um, and so it didn't move like an armadillo either, though you don't really see those in town anyway. Um, so I slowed down a bit. And I mean, I was already going under 25 because I was in the neighborhood by that point. But I slowed down to closer to 10, and I realized as I, was driving by and spotted it on someone's lawn, it paused to watch me as I drove by and then scampered away, and I went, that was a fox. And then I went, oh dear, that's very, very close to my neighbor's house who has outdoor cats. So I need to let him know that he needs to start keeping the kitties inside. I personally... Yes, sorry about that, Sierra. I do have the 10-minute follow chat setting turned on. Um, that's a safety feature that I have kept in place ever since the rather awful harassment that a lot of Twitch streamers, especially LGBT or minority streamers, were going through. Um, it's just a safety feature, and I do apologize. It makes things a bit more frustrating for new followers, but I would rather have that in place than risk some of the rather horrific attacks that people were going through. I'm not... Yeah, most people who are on Twitch are well aware of those attacks, and I don't want to see any of that happening. I'm not too bothered by if somebody were to attack me, but I have followers who I would hate to see them being triggered or upset by getting hit with that while they're watching. So I keep that on as a precaution for their safety. But yes, thank you for the follow, and welcome to my little stream where I do the things that make my weird little heart happy, as I like to phrase it. Okay. We're going to have one stitch of the yellow, and then we are dropping the yellow like it's hot and going back to the white. But I do have to pick up that one stitch of yellow before I do that. Okay. There we go. Oh, come on, you. There. Okay. Nope. I don't know how I managed that, but I have got... There it is. One little bit of the... if you ever find your yarn doing what mine just did, where one particular strand had come loose and was refusing to pull through with the rest, you can just make your loop bigger on the hook, and generally you can catch that one and fix it. It's a real quick and easy fix, and I'm grateful for that, because that would have been a pain if it weren't. Because I'm almost done with this, and I don't want to have to go back and redo whole rows. Which is why I'm kind of like, I made a mistake here, oh well. But there we go. So that was actually our last row with the yellow. And I will be going back to clip that here in just a few. And I just want to finish off this row. And then we can clip that, and I'll have to remember where my yarn needles are. I think they're over at my desk. Yeah, pretty much. I like the I like the fact that with this I created my own pattern. I drew the little picture that became this pattern by hand. I charted it out as a chart for crochet by hand. I then turned it into uh, I'm turning it into a actual blanket square by hand, and it's all going to be given as a gift as part of a much larger blanket um, from my knitting guild to one of our members who is going through a rough time. Um, I've got another blanket square that I need to do after this one is done that is going to be much more detailed, much more involved, but is for the same project type. Um, because my online knitting and crochet guild, we make these comfort blankets for our members that are in need of a little bit of extra love. So we make them a hug in the form of a blanket that all of our members contribute to, and in the end they have a big, beautiful blanket that is just nothing but love from the other members of the guild. Alright, so at this point we are going all the way across with just the white, and we'll be coming back with just the white until we, let's see, so we just finished, we'll be doing 4 rows of just the white, and then we will be swapping over to add the gray that will be the scythe, because this is themed after Discworld's death, who loves kittens and curry. And so it's a kitten and curry blanket square with a scythe in the background because it's for death. Oh, hold on, we've got a bit of yarn barf here. Yes, kittens and curry. At one point in one of the books, this crochet hook tastes awful. At one point in one of the books, one of the characters asked him, well, yes, asks him what is worth living for if, there's no such thing as justice, etc. And he pauses for a moment and then goes, kittens. Kittens are nice. I don't know. It's one of the clover ergonomic hooks, and that plastic on the handle of it just bleh. I normally use metal or wood hooks, but if I'm working for a long period, or having to work very quickly, which I am for this because I was supposed to have all of this done and mailed today. So, because this square needs to be in California by June 1st, and the other square that I haven't even started needs to be in Sweden by June 1st. So, yeah, I've been crocheting quite a bit on these since I started. So, yeah. Okay. I am thinking, given the number of these I've made now, because I've made 4 prior to this, and I've got these 2, that I might put together all of the different ones and make myself my own copies of all of them, and make myself a blanket eventually too. Then again, I have other blankets that are already... I have 2 blankets that are currently on the hooks, and one of them I started Memorial Day of 2019, and it's still not done. The other was started... Okay, we're not talking about how long ago I started the Waiting for Godot blanket. Needless to say, the title is fitting. That one's been on the hook for, I think I started it in 2014. So, 8 years. That one was one that I started as a, let's see how many different stitches I can learn and how much of my old yarn I can use up. So I would, anytime I came very close to the end of a ball of yarn, I would take the remnants of it and just make blanket squares using different stitch types to see what all I could make. And so I have a whole bunch of those squares that are just kind of in a bag and waiting for me to make enough to, make a proper blanket out of them. And of course, none of them are the same size because, different stitches have different stitch heights, and it's very hard for me to get them all nice and even and stuff. That is such a wonky looking cat. Oh well, I'll figure it out. It's obvious what it is meant to be, and that's what really matters. And it'll be warm, and it'll be cozy, and it will remind her that, she is very loved by the other members of the guild, and that's what matters. Even if we have wonky kitten shapes. It's very cute. I like how it's turning out, even if it's not quite as symmetrical as the pattern. Kitten looks like it was stung by a bee. That's all I'm saying on that. So, this is 2 rows. Yes, maybe that's how the kitten ended up with death. I do have one project that I did some time ago. I'd been given a bunch of yarn that was little old grandma had passed away, and her kids had no clue what to do with all the yarn. And oh look, you crochet, let me give you all of this yarn. And so it's a bunch of like Red Heart Super Saver from like the 50s and 60s. Like some of them you can even find the lot number. If you look up the lot number, it's like yarn from 1955. And it was like some very odd color choices. And then there was, of course, plain brown and, tan, things like that. And I used the plain brown and the tan to make a robe for my cat, my plastic cat skeleton that sits on my desk. Just one of those weird Party City or Halloween, plastic skeletons. And in this case, it's one of the cats that has the bone ears. So very anatomically improbable. But I made it a robe, and it is now the Grim Sleeper and stays on my desk. At the moment, I believe it has a tiny skeletal dragon on its head. Because I had to move things to make room for my new work setup, and I had to dislodge the dragon to another place. So it ended up on the cat's head. Going to be going quiet for a few... Yes. But, again, biologically improbable. Going to be going quiet for a few. I'm just doing some counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I want to make certain that I have the right number of stitches. $11, $12, $13, $14, $15, $16, $17, $18, $19, Yes, but it amuses me that the skeleton that is on my desk that is actually the closest to biologically feasible is the griffin. Because it doesn't have any bone feathers. It doesn't have bone ears, you know. it for a creature that doesn't exist, they have it very biologically probable. The vulture has bone feathers. It's funny. Somehow I have lost 4 stitches, and yet things are the right size. I don't know how that happened. The puppies all have bone ears too. I've got a French bulldog, um, a hound, and they both have bone ears. Let's see. And then I've also got the kitten, which also has bone ears. I have the rat, which is almost the same size as the cat, and again, bone ears. I have a lot of skeletons, let's put it that way. I've got the dragon, there's a skull on my desk whose name is Murray, and he has a wooden cigarette tucked in his mouth. Eventually I need to get around to painting that so it's the right color, but, you know. Counting again, one moment. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. How did you start at 48 stitches, and now you're 36, and you're still the same width? How did you do that? How did I do that? I'm magic. Okay. Well, fine. As long as it stays the same width, it doesn't matter. I might add a few stitches just to fix it, though. Maybe. What I really should do, in fact, I think I'm going to, is I'm going to set it down and stretch it a little and just make certain that the edges do line up the way they're supposed to. They do not. Aha. Okay, so I definitely need to add those extra stitches. That's not hard, though. That's easy. See, I need to pick up 4 stitches over the course of it, so that'll be quick and easy to add. 1, 2. We'll go ahead and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Alright. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Interestingly, the griffin, rather than having a eagle or hawk beak, actually has a parrot beak on it. I was amused to see that too. Could you imagine what a horrible creature a parrot griffin would be? Nothing against parrots, but I do not want one that also has a taste for meat. Parrots are bratty enough without that. Alright. So that was 40 stitches. So now it's as wide at the top as it is at the bottom again. Now here comes the fun part. That was 4 rows above the ears. So now, once I do these 2 stitches of brown going back the other way, I will have to pick up the gray here in a bit. So 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so 2 of white, 2 of brown, 11 of white, and then I need to grab my gray. And you guys will get to see how I add colors that were not previously on a piece. Well, sort of not previously on. It's this same gray, but higher up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now this is going to be 13, but because we're adding the color, we are just picking up those 2, and then we're going to go... I love how this couch eats me. The longer I sit here, the more I get eaten. This is all the brown. Where did I put the... There's the gray. Alright, yellow, I'm done with you for the moment. So you can go down here. Brown, I don't need that much of you. So, grab you. Alright. Well, this yarn barf needs to go back inside the ball. Can't do something sensible and normal. Yeah, well, this couch, I did not have a hand in purchasing. This particular couch, my spouse was like, oh, hey, a friend of mine is moving and they're getting rid of their couch. And we need a new couch. And I'm like, no, we really don't. And he's like, yeah, we do. We need one against X wall because we need 3 couches for some reason. And he brings the thing home, and it was at the time, filthy and full of fleas, and I was like, really? Really? You brought this home to our house that has a long-furred cat that's allergic to fleas? And he was like, well, I didn't know that they had fleas. I'm like, they didn't mention this? And I'm like, well, she's been working a lot, so she doesn't, she hadn't been home to see the state that the couch was in. And I'm like, okay, well, we're aware of it now, and we need to de-flea the couch. Which we did, eventually. But it was a pain. And I have not let him live that one down. Because I'm a terrible person. At least he thinks I am. I think I am too, but just for different reasons. I didn't want free fleas. I don't like fleas. I don't need them. If I were thinking to start a flea circus, that would be great. Oh, well, they did not, those bonus friends did not stay. We took care of them, but, We're going to be replacing this couch, though, when we finally do get in the new house. We're actually, 2 of the 3 couches will be getting replaced. The one that is not getting replaced actually belongs to our roommate. And we will also not be replacing his armchair, which will be coming with us. I mean, optimally, he'll have enough room in his bedroom that his couch and armchair can go in there, but I don't think that's going to happen. Because while we're moving into a house that is roughly 100 square feet larger, the rooms are actually going to be smaller because it's a 5-bedroom as opposed to our current 2-bedroom. So, but it'll be nice to have my own room. It'll be so nice to have a room for me and my crafting stuff and my plants and my work stuff. Just my own room. Yes. Like, I have been working in the dining room since 2019, late 2019. And I've been sleeping on the couch since early 2020. And when we get the new house and get the new room, for me, I will have my own bed to sleep on instead of the couch. And I anticipate some of my back issues going away, which will be nice. So next one. Oh, I'm he, him. I am a guy. To go into things, I am assigned female at birth, transgender. Good to know. I am also pansexual. I am polyamorous. That is why my spouse actually has a girlfriend, and she sleeps in the bed with him because he works in our bedroom, and I can't sleep while he's working. And since she can sleep while he's working, but I can't, it just made more sense that since I was already sleeping on the couch a couple days a week when he was working, when she moved in, we went ahead and we were like, well, she can just keep sleeping in the bed and I'll keep sleeping on the couch. It just made more sense, and I'm okay with that, So, yeah. Please do not get up in arms with your husband makes your makes you sleep on the couch while he sleeps in the bed with his girlfriend. No, it's not that. It's a, this is just what happened to work out best for us at the time. So, funny enough, I am not in any way, shape, or form in a relationship with his girlfriend. Nor do I want to be. She and I are good as friends, but I'm not interested in her. And I don't think she's interested in me. I tend to be fairly stern. We'll say that, which, you know, part of that is just I have to be responsible because somebody in the house has to be. Um, we originally, our relationship was a closed one when my husband and I were first married. We actually made it an open relationship, not because either of us were in a relationship with anyone else or anything like that, but because my husband realized that at the time, with the health issues he was suffering from, he could not keep up with my libido, and so it seemed a mercy to him for us to just make things an open relationship so that, you know, I could find what I needed as needed. Funnily enough, I'm the one that hasn't really taken him up and taken things up on that. I've just kind of, all of my uh, other halves, and really I hesitate to call them that because only one of them actually views the relationship I have with them as anything beyond friendship. Um, you know, fuck buddies, sure, but actual, like, romantic relationship, only one of them feels that way towards me, which is fine, you know. But all of mine are online. So, and we'd always just kind of assumed that I would be the one who would be, like, going out and getting laid left and right, not my other half. But life surprises you. Hmm? I mean, I'm just, because I have to be the responsible one. I don't have time to go out and get, you know, in a relationship physically with anyone. I I did not know I was poly because I did not have the words for that experience. Um, I had never been exposed to it prior. My parents still don't know that I'm in a polyamorous relationship because they would not understand, and I don't feel like trying to explain to a pair of, you know, 70-year-olds what's going on. And plus, they would just view it as, well, he's cheating on you. And be like, no, because cheating implies that I'm not aware and okay with it. I phrase it as I've never been good at monogamy. Um, Before we opened the marriage up, before I was even with my current spouse, I was never really good at monogamy. I would get in a relationship, I would love the person very dearly, but I would also love this other person very dearly, and things would, you know, happen. And then I would feel guilty, I would break it off with the first person, and then, you know, it's not the way that you should practice polyamory by any way, shape, or form, because there wasn't consent on the part of the other person. They were not aware of what I was doing. And that's not how it should be. That is not. What on earth are you doing, you weird little cat? Sorry. Um, the most important part of polyamory is all of the people in the relationship should be aware of what is going on, should be accepting of what is going on. And the fact that they weren't aware and they did not know is I was not doing things the right way. But I didn't know that it was polyamory, or that, well, it wasn't polyamory. It was flat out me cheating on them. But I didn't know that there was even an option of anything else. So, was it good that I did that? No, absolutely not. It was wrong. But coming from that and realizing eventually that, okay, this is just a part of who I am. There's not something wrong with me. I was just in the wrong type of relationship for me. Even with my spouse, in the many years that we've been married, there have been some spots where I did things without his knowledge or his consent. And I'm very glad he's stuck with me through that. But it was still wrong, And now I don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, you do have to make certain your partner knows that what they're getting into with a polyamorous relationship. Otherwise, it remains cheating, even if you're in an open marriage. Unless it's agreed upon with your partner, you don't have to tell me that you're going to be getting, you're going to be having sex. You don't have to tell me about these partners that you've had. Unless you have that kind of arrangement, if you go out and have one night stands, it's still cheating, even in an open marriage. That's the big thing. Everything has to be in the air, everybody has to be aware of what's going on, what you're doing, who you're doing, I guess. You don't have to share names or anything, but they do have to know that it's going on, or else it's really just cheating, even if it is an open marriage. So, with my spouse's girlfriend, I was aware for pretty much the whole time that they knew each other online first. And when it came to okay, she suddenly lost her home, she needs a place to stay, she's moving in with us, it was a bit fraught for a while because I was not prepared to have somebody else move in with us at the time. We were in the process of trying to find a new home, a new house at the time, and suddenly, after having already planned, okay, we need X number of bedrooms, suddenly that becomes, okay, we need Y number of bedrooms. And it was a lot of added stress on me. There were a lot of issues because my other half, once she did move in with us, was missing a lot of work because he wanted to spend time with her because it was, yeah. Nope, that's pretty much how it is. But, he was missing a lot of work, which was adding additional stress to me. Suddenly we had an extra mouth to feed in the house, which again added a lot of stress. She was smoking. She's doing a very good job on trying to quit, but that added extra stress because I was not okay with having someone smoking. Even if they were going outside to smoke, the smell would still come in on their clothes, So there was a period where it was very tense and frustrating, and I was feeling very neglected, and very put out by the whole thing, because I had flat out said, no, she can't move in until we get the new house. And then he's like, no, she's moving in. But I also understand there were other circumstances outside of all of our control that made it a necessity that she do so. But I still didn't like it, especially at the time. I spent quite a few days unable to eat because of all of that. Okay, so we are getting very close to done. Yes, I'm very glad for that too, believe me. And she is a lovely, you know, she is a lovely person. It's just there was a lot going on that I was not okay with and not really ready for at the time. But, you know, things are much better as things have gotten settled with here's how the dynamics in the house work now, you know. Sorry, I had to pull out a few stitches. I have to go in one more, so okay. This is where I pick up the gray, and now I'm not actually having to carry that white through, because this is where we start going gray all the way across to the staff. The staff itself is going to become only one stitch of brown as to opposed to the previous two. And then once we finish this row, I've only got 2 more rows to go, so I am going to finish this tonight on stream. I was not planning to do that. I thought it would take me a bit longer than it has. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. I am glad it will get done a little earlier than anticipated, because that means I have more time to work on the other one. But yes, things have mostly worked out and settled down. There's still a few bumps that are being worked on, but a lot of that is going to be resolved just by, you know, getting into the new house, getting somewhere where everyone has their own personal space, so that everybody can have some privacy and some quiet as needed. Which you really don't think about how very important that is until you don't have it. Like, you just don't think about it. It's largely a non-issue until suddenly it is. It's turning out very nice. It'll look a lot better once I've sewn in all the loose ends and clipped things, but yeah, it's looking very nice. I like it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish up this row and the last row, and then I'll go ahead and call the stream for the night. But I'm not even sure how long I've been going tonight. I have the chart up so that it covers my actual Twitch studio, so I can't see how long. Oh, excuse me. Okay. But yes, the craziness of relationship stuff has mostly settled down. Now it's just the craziness of buying a house stuff and the craziness of, oh dear, I had to take the cat to the emergency vet last night, and it turns out she has an abscessed tooth, and we're going to have to get that dealt with. She'll be okay. She's 19, and she is very old, and we are worried about her, but she will be okay. She's on antibiotics now, and she's on gabapentin for the pain. Because the vet, of course, does not want to give her an actual anti-inflammatory, because they are very bad for kidneys, and with her being a very old kitty, we have to protect her kidneys very much. So yeah, life. Life is a thing that happens, whether you want it to or not. This is going to be the last bit of white. I'm coming up to the very end of it. There'll be some white on the other blanket square that I'll be doing, but that one is going to be primarily blue. The only white on it is going to be, well, the smoke around the dragon's ass, because he's propelling himself forward by fire out of his butt. So, you know. Very fitting for a swamp dragon from Discworld. After all, Errol did figure out how to fly, just not necessarily for, well, I guess can you say it's not really for good reasons if the reason he learned how to fly is so he could get it on with an actual dragon? Seemed to make he and she both happy, so, you know, I guess it must have been a good reason. I'm going to pop that up, and we're going to treat it as if... there. We're just going to carry it for the stitches we need to, because I want to keep it nice and tight. Here we go. What, getting it on with the dragon or flying by farting? Well, you know. I can't say I've... you could always date a fire elemental or a magma golem. I just don't think I'd want to date a swamp dragon. I mean, you know. I think it might have been Errol's dream, but not necessarily a dream for the dragon herself. Alright. So, you have to clip a few threads, and then pull through this one to the back so that I can show what the actual front looks like. Pop over here. And there we go. We have our kitten and curry blanket square all done. I think it looks pretty good. Alright, I just have to sew in the ends and I'll be done with that. And just for shiggles, I will show you guys what the actual chart that I was working with was. So this is the chart that I used to make this. Let me view. Trying to remember how to make it visible as a full thing. There. That's the actual chart that I was working with. So, didn't quite match the chart. Kitty Cat's head ended up a bit bigger than it should have, but it still looks pretty darn good. And I'll take pretty darn good over worrying myself to death. That said, I do want to thank those who came out for the stream tonight, especially you, Sierra Runs, my newest follower. I hope that you had fun watching the stream, and just remember, take care of yourself, take care of others, and I'll see y'all next week on the gaming stream, which is Friday night leading into Saturday at, well, whenever I end up getting around to it. It's generally around 2 a.m.-ish, but that will be Secret World Legends, because it's the final week. That said, y'all take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next time. Bye.